Hello, I'm Bob Hazel, a member of the North Carolina chapter of the Wildlife Society, and we're in near Raleigh, North Carolina, at the Schenck Forest picnic area, part of the campus of the North Carolina State University. And we're here today to record an interview with one of the pioneers in the wildlife program in North Carolina. This is part of a program called Celebrating Our Wildlife Conservation Heritage. And today we're interviewing Mr. Jim Raniger, who is one of the early employees of the Wildlife Commission and had a long and distinguished career as a wildlife officer in western North Carolina.
Today's date, too.
Today's date is October 19th. Not October 19th, May 19th. So Jim, what we hope to do today is have you tell your story, your career with the Wildlife Resources Commission, and I might suggest that you may want to begin with where you grew up, something about your family, how you got interested in wildlife conservation, and just go from there.
Well, I grew up in North Ardell County, at the northeast corner of it, a mile from the Yadkin County line, a mile from the Davie County line on a farm. And I was the last of 10. And I farmed, went to Harmony High School, graduated from there in 1948. And in fall of 1948, I enrolled in what to my knowledge is the first community college, technical school, or whatever you want to call it, Red City Technical Institute, Red City, which is old Camp Glen, an old Navy installation. State College took it over, and I graduated from there in 1950. Got married in 1951, got in service in 1951, December the 7th. Served in Korea. The most interesting part of my service was the last 4 months I was in Korea. I was in Puerto Rican National Guard, which happened to be the 65th Infantry Regiment, the 3rd Division. Their unit had messed up and they reorganized, left 10% Puerto Ricans and refurbished it with gringos. And I left from there in July of 53. Came back to my wife and farmed a couple of years. One year we made $400 on a tobacco crop and had $700 hospital bill, no insurance. So I was looking for a home. The Wildlife Commission gave me one. I'd always been interested in hunting. My dad always kept a pack of beagles. And he would shoot into a covey of birds, but he wasn't hunting with dogs. He said, we don't have enough birds to hunt with dogs. Shoot the covey if they get up, but that's it. It was a rabbit hunter. Squirrel hunter. We had no deer. Born 1886. Never seen a deer in the wild until just a few years before he died in 1974. The only thing we had was raccoons once in a while, possums, squirrels, and rabbits. But somehow or other, the deer got started in our North Ardell, and a big population of them there now. In 1955, I went to wildlife school in Chapel Hill. In December 1955, I went to work with the Wildlife Commission in District 2 as a trainee. In May of '56, I was transferred to Pennsylvania County. Stayed there until '62. Moved over to Henderson County. Stayed there the rest of my career. The last 4 years, I was a hunter safety officer. But going back to the early days, we had Wayne Wiggins on the refuge there at Davidson River, Hills River, in that area. And I'm sure some of the things that we took place then wouldn't probably stand up to Supreme Court days now. But we've made a lot of progress in the laws and in the enforcement of them and working them. When I went to work, it was from Caint till Caint. And I'm not right sure, but as I understand it now, it's something like a 40-hour week.
Yeah.
But But anyway, we worked the refuges, and then later on they took the people off the refuges. Part of them stayed with the game division, the others went with enforcement. And of course there was pros and cons of what people thought about the procedure that took place, but I think myself that it's made much progress since 1955. Not only working conditions, but in our association with the public. The public's become more aware, and education in the schools through our 4-H and wildlife programs has worked tremendously well. And I retired in January 1, 1985, and I had some awful good people that I worked with. One guy that I worked with, Arthur Pack, came to work when it was still in C&D. In 1947, when the commission was formed, he went to work with the Wildlife Commission, retired in 75, and got a lot of good instruction from him down in Polk County. And
You mentioned the training school at Chapel Hill. You want to tell us a little about that?
And the training school in Chapel Hill, whenever I went to it, they gave us room and board. You were not hired at that time. It was 3 weeks of school. And then you went home and you waited until you were called or be offered a job. As I understand it now, they're hired when they go to school. Is that correct?
I think that's correct.
They're on the payroll, which is a lot better. But the Wildlife Commission has been through a lot of changes, and I'm not here to pass judgment on any of them, but I think in all the things that took place, that it's much better now than it was in 1955. We made a lot of advances.
Well, back then you had to do a lot of it just on your own.
In 1955, I drove my own car, busted a tire every week.
Yeah.
And I mean, not 55, but 56, I'm sorry. But in June of 56, I got a 1956 Ford, and I was really going uptown then. I was all right. Got it because an older fellow about ready to retire said he didn't want a state car. He's going to drive his personal car, Charlie Garland, if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's how I wound up with a car at that time. And we, a lot of changes in the organization so far as we were called protectors, now they're called wildlife officers, enforcement officers. And the next rank was called a patrolman, now they're sergeants. And the next one was assistant supervisors, now they are the lieutenants, and the supervisors are captains. And of course it's all been computerized, mostly on reports and stuff at this time. We did it by stubby pencil and a piece of paper.
Let me tell you a little story I remember from the car business. You mentioned Mr. Garland didn't want one. I was assistant chief and stopped by his house one day and asked him when he was going to come to ask him when he was going to come pick up his new car. He wasn't there, his wife was there. And she said, "What does he need that state car for?" And I said, "Well, that's the car he's supposed to use for work." She said, "He don't need a car. He can do his job just fine the way he is right now."
Well, at that time, when you went to the grocery store and the local filling station, you came back with a house and sat on a nice big front porch with your heels on the railing. It didn't take too much driving.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you worked a lot with the boys that were on what we called the refuges at that time.
Right.
Now, they were some pretty interesting individuals and had to really pretty much operate on their own. They didn't have much supervision. Didn't have much supervision. But you spent a lot of time helping some of this stuff, didn't you?
Oh yes, I was from Transylvania County. We had a person living on Davidson River, and Wayne Wiggins lived on Mills River. He was the supervisor of that, manager of that particular section, and I guess I worked with him and Lloyd Higgins. He was on the game division. Jack Owens and some others, a lot more than I did with the people in the enforcement division. I was doing the same job. We worked night hunting. I know one time, still when we was having deer hunts on Davidson River, we checked cars up at Wagon Road Gap, 276, and down at the entrance to the forest. And one day this old gentleman, Perry Davis, had been a federal game warden. He's still working for the Forest Service, but he was working with me. His car came along and we stopped it. At that time, we searched the cars even on the U.S. highway for guns and stuff coming through the refuse. And this gentleman asked Perry, said, so what's going on here today? Perry said, well, we're having a little deer hunt. Are there any deer here? Oh, yes. One guy just checked out a nice one, said didn't have a shot in it. I said, what do you mean? Well, said he was laid his gun up against a tree and was peeling an apple, and a deer come up and started eating the peel, and he just reached down and cut his throat. So, that's an old man. He was good.
Yeah, I remember when we decided that they had to tag the deer. I was up there on part of Pisgah, working with Frank Barrett, who was chief of the game division at that time. And we found a deer in the back of a pickup truck, didn't have a tag on it. Pretty soon a fella came walking up and said that, we asked him, this year? Yeah. Where's the tag? Well, he's tagged. Well, where is it? Well, did you look? I said, yeah, we looked. Well, did you look up his rear end? That's where he put the tag.
It might have been affixed, but it was infixed, huh?
Yeah. So, that was the kind of stuff you had to encounter and deal with in those days.
And I remember one search party, this young man came into Wiggins' house. So Wayne said, my daddy's can't find him. It's what after dark. He went squirrel hunting, but I can't locate him. So we got out and run up and down the road shooting and hollering and carrying on. And next morning, on about 10 o'clock, Mr. Wiggins going up the Yellowgap Road, which goes between Bent Creek and Mills River, and met the old man coming down the road carrying a shotgun. And he stopped checking and saw the name and said, did you hear us last night? I said, where were you? I said, oh, I lost my way in the woods and I just laid down beside of a log, pulled some leaves up on me to stay warm, and I said, I'll get out of here when daylight comes, which I am out now. Wayne said, that taught me a lesson. He said, if they don't come out in 3 days, I'll start hunting for them.
There were some characters you ran into in those days.
He said, I heard some shooting taking place and hollered, so I just figured a bunch of drunks out having a good time. So I just slept the night away.
What was the most satisfying part of your work?
Well, most satisfying part was catching those people that we were supposed to catch. They had such a hard time catching them. There's one guy, he's passed away now, but he was a noted poacher of horses back in Turkey. And we worked for about 2 days on it. Got information they were back there. Everybody decided they had to go home for some reason, besides myself and Lloyd Higgins, and we decided to wait until that night before we quit. So we were laying on the trail, and lo and behold, these 3 horses came out. And the front one happened to be carrying the one that we've been after for so long, and he had a deer helm in his saddlebag. It's closed season. The one behind him was another noted friend of ours. I guess that was the most satisfaction I've ever got out of a case. And the best satisfaction is whenever you could stock fish and get some of the people that were taking over their limit, seining. And then I found out fish could swim. We had Cascade Lake there in Transylvania County, and we'd stop go up and down the banks along the shoreline, stocking a bucket full of trout at a time. And it was real satisfaction when we found out you could dump them there at the boat dock. In less than an hour, they were up at Hooker Falls, which is on Duport State Forest now, swimming around up there trying to get on up the river, which was distance about a mile or a mile and a half. So I learned that you could put them in one place and they would move on out. And then the muskie was stocked in Lake Adger developed. In fact, I believe the record still holds one caught there. But they were just little fellers, about 6 inches long, about the size of a pencil. And we didn't say anything about it when we put them in. Well, there's a few of them, of course, didn't make it, washed up along the bank. And these people were bringing specimens to Arthur Pack to find out what they were, what kind of exotic fish had taken over Lake Adger. But I don't remember what this one weighed, the record that caught it, but it was a good-sized muskie. And it's still noted as a good muskie lake. So, just some of the things that...
And muskie had been native to North Carolina waters prior to that time, right?
I understand, yes. French Broad River's got quite a few in them now, too.
Yeah.
And that's another blessing when you got that French Broad cleared up. There's some good fishing there now. I used to see people fishing in it, and they pull their lines out, and there'd be strings of fiber that long on the line like Spanish moss coming from that paper plant up the Davis River.
Yeah.
All that's cleaned up now.
Well, what do you see as down the road now is the biggest problem for wildlife management?
Biggest problem for wildlife management is managing the people. Right now we're having bear problems up there. One person's pet dog was killed in the yard there in Buncombe County, another one in Madison County, but the people are just building, development after development. The bear's not coming out, the people's going in. And what the remedy is for that, the only thing I could say is try to keep as much land, conservatories and public properties as possible.
Yeah, I think the spreading urban development is a big problem.
Oh, that is the problem. That is the problem. I know last time I flew over Buncombe County, I could not realize, it's been maybe 3 or 4 years since I've flown over it, but I could not realize the new development that's going on. And it's even worse now. I don't know if you're familiar with the area between North and South Mills River or not. What we call the Whitaker land.
Yeah.
There's a big development back in there now, several hundred acres that they back in near the Arthur Redden place there. And it's just, and we've got another big one over on Bent Creek area, the cliffs of Walnut Cove. And that's just a few of it.
Everybody wants a house up on the mountain. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a real challenge.
So, what you gonna do? The magazines say, come to Asheville, or come to Brevard, and of course, here they come.
Yeah.
An old gentleman I'll never forget, our mountain home, it's been 20 years ago, went in the post office, and he came in, he was belly aching about, he said, pretty soon it's not going to be what I came here for. I said, well, sir, I guess you and I both are part of the problem. I said, I'm not a native here, but I enjoy it here and plan on staying around. But keep blaming the people for coming.
Yeah, well, same thing's happening here in this area.
Right.
The things that make it attractive are disappearing. And these new people that come and say, it's not like it was when we moved here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing happened to me one time down in Polk County. I was sitting in the restaurant there in Columbus eating lunch. Of course, people see you in your uniform, you just better get you a peanut cracker and go back to the log somewhere if you want privacy. But this guy came in and saw me sitting there eating, and came over and made himself available for my ear to hear. And he bought some property in around Lake Adger. And they were riding their horses and so forth. And he said every time he went out, they run into somebody with a rifle or shotgun hunting. I said, well, these people in this area, unless they're feuding, they hunt on everybody's land. They don't pay any attention to a boundary. I said if they're feuding, they might be a little leery of it, but I said, I'll ask you one thing. Did the real estate person that you talked to say anything about the type of people or community you was moving into? Oh, no, he just had land for sale. I said, well, I suggest you go back and talk to him and find out some more about it. But I said, there's nothing I can do about it except check their license and seize them. Of course, now that's all of that's been nipped in the bud by the registration of the landowners. You register your land if they don't have a permit, and it's taken care of pretty well. But, I don't know how you can curtail those developments. It's like the head of Lake Adger. You should see what's going on down there.
I don't think you can. The economics drives things.
That's right. So just live with it and do the best you can, right? But I think they've done tremendously well with what we had to do with, even with the people coming in.
Yeah, I think we have too. It's going to be a real challenge in the future.
Well, a lot of the people coming in really don't have any understanding of the land, do they?
Not at all. They've been an asphalt jungle. You come down here and you don't know what to do with it. Nobody's gonna build on a 30% slope that looks at anything. It's gonna slide right off in the creek. And then they want the government to build it back. Same way on the coast, where the Topsail Island and those places. Building roads where there's no business of being roads. It's instant gratification, I reckon. They get it there, and it's there, and then when the storm comes, they hope it don't wash away.
I don't think it's going to change until a lot of people change their attitudes about what they really want. You know?
That's right.
Well, Jim, you've had a real successful career with the Wildlife Resources Commission, and I think you've made a real contribution that you can be proud of, and I want to thank you for that, and hope you enjoy the rest of your retirement.
Well, we're working on it.
Before we close, what's the funniest thing you remember as an officer?
Well, I guess about one of the funniest things I remember is Doug Flake and I were patrolling up at Glenville Lake, Jackson County, one 4th of July or something. I was up there helping him, and we were riding along the road and saw a bunch of people fishing down at the edge of the lake. I told Doug, I'll jump out and check them. Okay. So I got out and checked them. They were from Rosman. Well, all the people around Rosman called me Old Vinegar. So I checked their license, and they were all okay. And one of them said, hey, have you seen Old Vinegar lately? I said, not since I shaved this morning, and went up the bank to the vehicle. Old Doug was rolling up there. He thought that was the funniest thing he'd ever heard in his life. And that guy, I guess he finally figured it out, I don't know. And then another one, this guy and his brother-in-law robbed a bank there in Roswell. And he was a pyrotechnic, a pyromaniac, or whatever it is that burns woods, arsonist. And eventually died in a little shack that he was living in. I don't know whether he saved it for or somebody else did. But anyway, they robbed a bank there, in Branch Bank in Roswell, and came in, and he told the teller, said, give us your money. So old James has got a shotgun. He'll shoot you if you don't. So the gentleman gave them the money, and they get out down to Brevard and start paying bills. And within an hour and a half, they had them caught. And they pulled about 5 years in prison for it. I was at an agency there in Roswell one day that sold hunting and fishing license, and this guy came in, slapped me on the shoulder, and he said, hey, Old Vinegar, said, where you been? Said, I hadn't seen you in 5 or 6 years. So anyway, there's a lot of things there.
Old Vinegar.
Vinegar.
Wait a minute.
That's pretty good. Well, someday you ought to sit down and write some of your experiences. Make some good memoirs. I've been tempted to do that, and I'm encouraging other people to do it.
We got to wind up.
No, go ahead.
We got a gentleman, well, I used to didn't call him a gentleman, but I reckon will of count of age now. In the VA hospital, he's had 3 surgeries. I volunteer there quite a bit. But he's from Rosman, and near the satellite tracking station. I've known him for years. He used to since 1957, he worked for Houston Furniture Company. He put a washing machine, refrigerator in the back of a pickup truck and run around through the mountains over in Jackson County in Transylvania, and he'd sell it $1 down, $1 a week, go back and collect and that forth. Said, I'll tell you the truth, if it cost me $1,000. And his nickname is Lion blank blank. I won't say his name. That's what he goes by. But anyway, he was all right. He'd do his thing if he got a chance. So his wife was just as big a bear hunter or liked to hunt bear, we shall say, as much as anybody. She killed a couple and knew them real well, and they always treated me fine. I'm not saying that they might not step out to traces a little bit, but anyway, he's in the hospital now and been in there for about probably 3 or 4 months. They had cancer in his colon, and they've done 3 surgeries, but I go in and see him about every day. He always tells me some tale about him and his buddies back when they were young, what all they did. He said sometimes we was a little bit older when we're doing dusting, so too. But he's just one of these guys that's a character. He knows you know him, and he knows that you know him. You get along with him. He's something else. To tell you the truth, it cost me $1,000. His wife passed away she was there one Wednesday with him in the hospital for the checkup, and next Thursday week they buried her. That's bearing on a whole lot. But he's one of the old guys that when they stock deer down in what is Gorges Park now, Duke Power had it. This old boy sitting there and living with his dog on TV, showed a picture of him, stocking